In the quiet suburbs of Willow Creek, Oregon, on a crisp October evening in 2024, Sophie Miller's life unraveled in a spectacular blaze of digital chaos. Picture this: Sophie, the self-appointed guardian of our cul-de-sac, lounging on her deck with a glass of Pinot Grigio, smugly boasting about her unhackable signal blockers. She thought she ruled the airwaves. But then her router erupted in a symphony of blinking lights, locking her out of her own network. Her tablet screamed, "System breach detected," as she shrieked like a banshee. Little did she know, my 13-year-old son, Ethan, was perched in our attic window, laptop glowing, his face calm but deadly focused, whispering to himself, "Checkmate, Sophie." In our neighborhood, you don't mess with a kid who codes virtual cities for fun and treats cybersecurity like a high-stakes game. It all started a month earlier when our Wi-Fi began dropping every night at 7 p.m. sharp. At first, we blamed the provider. Then we swapped out modems twice. 3 technician visits later, we were stumped. That's when my wife, Laura, noticed the outages coincided with Sophie's return home. Sophie wasn't just any neighbor. She was the HOA's unofficial dictator, the kind of person who'd fine you for a slightly crooked mailbox or call your garden gnome visual vandalism. She strutted around with a smartwatch buzzing and a clipboard that might as well have been a scepter. Suspicious, I tested a hunch. One evening, I stood in our driveway, phone in hand, watching the Wi-Fi signal tank exactly 4 minutes after Sophie's SUV rolled in. I turned to Ethan and said, "I think our neighbor's playing dirty." His eyes lit up with a grin that could freeze lava. "Want me to dig into it?" he asked. I nodded, half joking, and within an hour, he'd pinpointed her signal jammer device redirecting our Bluetooth to a shady server called CreekNet_secure. Sophie wasn't just blocking us, she was snooping. Most people would have stormed over and confronted her. I almost did, once, standing on her porch, finger hovering over the doorbell. But then she burst out, yelling at a delivery guy for asymmetrical parking. I backed off. Sophie didn't do reason she craved control. We needed a plan to outsmart her, one that would make her rethink ever touching our signal again. Enter Ethan, my quiet, chessmaster son, who approached problems like a predator stalking prey. When I told him about Sophie's game, he asked one question: "Can I use the old gaming laptop?" That dusty machine hadn't seen action in years, but Ethan turned it into a weapon. By the next day, he'd crafted a digital trap so clever it felt like art. He called it the web snare. Here's the genius of it. He broadcast a fake Wi-Fi network, Creek_open, that looked vulnerable but was a fortified honeypot. The second Sophie's jammer latched onto it, the trap sprang. Her device ID was cloned, her traffic looped back, and her router rebooted into a diagnostic spiral, locking her out. Better yet, every smart device in her house speakers, thermostat, fridge blared lo-fi jazz on repeat, courtesy of Ethan's custom script. Her fridge screen even flashed, "Ask nicely next time." From my porch, sipping coffee, I watched Sophie unravel. She stormed out in a velvet tracksuit, waving a signal detector like a wizard's wand, screaming, "Who's hijacking my bandwidth?" The irony? She was choking on her own signal, mirrored back at her. The next day, an HOA violation notice appeared on our door and signed, but Sophie's loopy handwriting was unmistakable, accusing us of rogue electronic interference. I tucked it into a folder we'd started calling this Sophie saga. But she wasn't done. She called an emergency HOA meeting, claiming we were running a clandestine tech operation from our garage. She even roped in a lawyer to send us a cease and desist letter. It was laughable until Ethan went to phase 2. He'd logged her jamming patterns, device IDs, and timestamps, then sent a detailed report to the FCC. Within days, a government van rolled up. Sophie tried to charm the agent, but when he asked to see her equipment, she froze, her face paling like a ghost. Undeterred, Sophie filed a 19-page civil complaint against Ethan, accusing a 13-year-old of cyber sabotage and community destabilization. She called him a digital delinquent and demanded a tech ban in Willow Creek. The judge, clearly exhausted, set a hearing date. Laura was livid, her usual calm replaced by a fire I'd never seen. She told Ethan, "You did nothing wrong, but we're fighting this fair and square." Ethan, cool as ever, said, "We'll win. She's given me a platform. He prepared a presentation called Digital Ethics in Suburbia, exposing Sophie's jamming and surveillance of neighbors' Device doorbells, baby monitors, everything. At the hearing, Sophie strutted in like a movie villain, her lawyer smirking. Ethan, in a hoodie, plugged in a USB and delivered a 10-minute takedown, complete with logs, screenshots, and a recording of Sophie bragging about network dominance. The courtroom was silent. The judge, unimpressed with Sophie's theatrics, dismissed her case, warning her against further frivolous lawsuits. But Sophie wasn't one to slink away. She doubled down, installing a bizarre metal box on the sidewalk between our homes, labeled CreekNet Security Hub. It was a junkyard router in a weatherproof case, wired to her house, blinking like a sci-fi prop. Ethan didn't bite. Instead, he pinged it with harmless noise, making it hum and overheat. Sophie paced around it with a multimeter, muttering about intruders. The fire marshal eventually dismantled it, citing it as a hazard. By then, neighbors were mocking her online with memes and fake security footage. Still, Ethan sensed she was planning something bigger. One night, his microphone picked up her whispering about Phase Omega, a plan to lock down the neighborhood's smart devices. Ethan built a fake network, Willow Zoo, mimicking every device on the block. When Sophie's new scrambler activated, it hit the decoy, triggering fake alarms and a virtual assistant saying, "We see you, Sophie." Her system crashed. She fled town the next morning, bins packed in her SUV. At the final HOA meeting, the board revealed Sophie's fraud, fake elections, misappropriated funds, and a secret deal with her cousin's tech firm. Ethan handed over a dossier of her misdeeds, suggesting a transparent digital dashboard for the HOA. The crowd cheered, and the board erased Sophie's petty fines against us. As we left, Sophie burst in, disheveled, screaming about betrayal. The board had her escorted out, now under investigation for fraud. That night, Ethan and I sat on our porch, the air finally clear. "She'll try again," I said. Ethan smirked. "Let her. I've got WebSnare 2.0 ready." What do you think? Did Ethan go too far, or was Sophie's reign of control begging for a takedown? Should kids like Ethan be free to fight back digitally, or is that a dangerous line to cross? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button, and subscribe for more wild neighborhood tales.